Okay, so a family friend that I was following on Instagram posted this thing yesterday morning, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I really want to talk about this with you. So it's a screenshot from a National Post article, and the title is Supreme Court Decision Opts for Person with a Vagina Over Woman, and then the subtitle is A Decision in a Sexual Assault Case Implied that the complainant should be properly known as a person with a vagina. I didn't read the article, but the caption on this post from this person that I know is time to rise up and fight, and all the comments are like, this is so incredibly sad and removes all the essence of being a woman, and there's like little eye roll emojis and people going like, for fuck's sake, this is ridiculous and the world is crazy and scary and I am a woman and I want to be acknowledged as one. I haven't looked into this article, but really what this made me want to talk about is I hear all the time from these same people that I know, that I live with, that know me, and I would consider to be people that love and care about me. And the through line tends to be, but why don't the LGBT people just be like quiet about it, you know? Why can't this be like a personal thing in your own home? I don't care about your orientation or your preferences, but that's your personal business, and you should keep the things in your bedroom in your bedroom. And this is why I think that's an unreasonable request, and I would like to talk about that. So this isn't meant to be like a super gross, dark, serious thing, but like I'm going to be talking about some things that make me uncomfortable and have caused me a lot of stress in my life, because I am one of those people that does experience a lot of gender dysphoria, and I want to talk about some of the things that I've realized and how this all kind of connects for me. So for starters, I don't really feel like I chose to be weird, okay? Pretty much since the day I was born, people have been questioning my decisions and my preferences. I get asked all the time by people, like, are you sure you're not a boy? Because I'll say, like, oh, I'm really attracted to, like, sort of feminine guys or guys with hips, or, I'm into women. And so, like, my preferences alone, people will be like, are you sure you're not the opposite gender? Or, there are a lot of activities or interests that I have that would traditionally be considered male interests. I like woodworking. I love using tools. I'm very happy doing the heavy lifting shit. I love when my partners are more like homebodies and they want to do the cooking and I think like that to me, that's very attractive. I love that. I'm very much the kind of person that I would want to be the working partner, and then my partner would be home with the children. There's just like so many little things about just my preferences, how I work as a person, down to like the clothing decisions I make. I will pick a shirt, or like currently I'm trying to find a suit for a wedding, because I love the idea of having one set of clothes for every special event, because it stresses me out. I hate the thought of having to get like a new dress thing for every single event and having to fucking stress about that and have different things for different stuff. I don't want that. I want like one easy thing, and I would also just be more comfortable in a suit. And I get questioned about it, by these people that are like, are you sure you're not like actually a boy? It's kind of weird. Are you sure you're not like only a lesbian? Not even getting into the fact that you can be attracted to multiple genders at the same time, It's just like my whole life. People have been saying, sort of in like a subtle way, you're not really a woman because you don't do the things a woman should do, okay? I'm constantly put in situations where people go, oh, Selena, we're going to be doing this cooking thing with the girls and you're going to be a part of that. And I don't know how to express in an appropriate way that I have no interest in that activity. I would not enjoy that activity. And it also makes me feel kind of gross. I don't know. There's just something about being lumped in with a group of people and be like, oh, you should love this because you're a woman. That just makes me feel uncomfortable, or like there's something wrong with me. Like even if I do spend time with the boys or the guys, it took me like 3 years to be accepted within this one specific family unit as like, Selena's basically a boy with tits and she's allowed to be here. Because before it was like such a weird thing and people were like worried that I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I'm like, I don't know. I wanted to do this activity and I enjoy hanging out with you guys because you're cool. That's all I wanted. The thing that drives me nuts is these people will clock you as like, yeah, there's something off about you. There's something not quite right for like the gender you're supposed to be. And they'll tell you, like all the fucking time, they'll comment about why aren't you more feminine? Why aren't you more this? Why aren't you less that? And then they're like appalled, if you like even suggest like, I don't know, maybe I could be a boy. Like I've had that happen where someone who was constantly making comments about how I wasn't, like the way that a woman would normally be. But then I just like in passing made a joke about how, sometimes I feel like a boy. And this lady, she like puts her hand on my hand and she goes, "But you're not." And I was like flabbergasted. I had no idea what to say to that because I was like, I don't know. So for starters, for me, I think it's natural to probably gravitate more to identifying as non-binary because all the fucking time people are telling me, yeah, you're kind of weird. You kind of don't fit like anything that a woman is supposed to be. And I'm like, I don't know. What do you want from me? Either you need to stop making me feel like I am not a woman or just like accept that I'm now identifying as a different thing so I don't have to deal with that shit. Like I feel like it's reasonable. I feel like I should be allowed to have like one thing that makes my life less stressful. So that for starters is the same people that complain about this shit are the people that will not shut up about how you're different and weird, and they want to know why you don't do the normal things that you're supposed to do. Like, they're very nosy about it. But then they're, like, shocked, that you would, like, actually take them up on essentially the suggestion that they're giving you, that, like, maybe you're a different thing. And I don't get that, This just made me think, like, for me, I cannot escape these conversations. I'll be on social media and I'll see people being upset about weird shit, or I'll see like horrible, sad stories about people who've had their kids get killed because they were trans and like visibly trans. I'm constantly seeing people debating like the ethics of non-binary people existing and how terrible it is that it's like ruining the English language and the legal system. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Okay, I just would like to talk solutions. And it's weird to me that we can all go about our day and, like people are allowed to like hint at the idea of a thing that makes you different. Like you might in passing make a joke about someone being a minority or the differences of being a woman or, like being a little bit different the way you express yourself. But the minute you, as that minority, want to talk about it and say, hey, these are my experiences, these are things that affect me, and I would appreciate if you could not make me feel like shit. Suddenly it's like a horrible, horrible travesty, and you're oppressing people's freedom of speech, and it's how terrible of you. And it's with everything too. That's the part that I find so fascinating. Is it's not just, like this is not like a uniquely LGBTQ thing. I see the same shit with racism. I'm always kind of worried when I make videos and I talk about like my foster care situation and some of the racist things I've experienced growing up, because people are weird about it. They get all like upset that you had the audacity to say something out loud that we all kind of know is true in the back of our brains. So yeah, it's like maybe, I don't know, like people are just uncomfortable with having to have these conversations, but at the same time not, okay? Because I will see people who have never had to deal with gender dysphoria, who have never had to deal with feeling othered, who will then go and spew all kinds of crazy shit about like, oh, this is just the science and I'm being illogical. And you just have to be like super chill about it, okay? I will be at like the family dinner table or like out at a nice restaurant, and the people within my family unit will start talking about some shit they saw on the news that is already not true, like the cat litter box situation. That was a whole thing. And then they'll look to me as like the only resource on what an LGBTQ person might think. And I get lost on what do you even say, because like it's a community in the sense that like it's a subsection of people who have all probably had similar experiences and may be able to like empathize with each other a little better. But it's not like we're meeting up and we all have a group chat together and we like, it's not organized. It's not like we have like a 4chan forum and we like do shit together. It's like, I don't know, you probably experience this and I'd probably experience this, and that gives us some level of camaraderie, which like I imagine would be the same for normal women who act in a way that women are expected to act. So yeah, it's like I'm not like I'm on a text chain. I just happen to have a lot of queer or questioning friends because we all feel a little bit safer talking to each other than the people that we may be around most of the time. Yeah, it's like I don't want to be an authority on shit. It's not like I'm out here screaming to the world that I'm hella gay because like I need to be special. It's like I need to tell people up front because it's been such an issue for me. The frustrating thing is for other people, this is like a casual, fun dinner conversation of like, oh, those crazy trans people doing the silly things and demanding that they be given the like barest modicum of respect or acknowledgement that they exist. The world is crazy and ridiculous and the society is ending. And you have to sit there and be like, yeah, so let's, how do I politely dismantle the idea that like trans or non-binary people are inherently inferior physically and mentally and don't belong in the military anyways? Because that's a real conversation I've had to have with a real family member that I generally love and respect. Like people don't connect it in their brains, you know? Like I've had people when they bring these topics up in a conversation and I get heated, I'm like, hey, these are all the things. These are my personal experiences. These are like things I have learned. This is the science behind this thing. And it's like, you have to become an expert on the thing. And then they go, I just don't understand why you're getting so emotional about this. You just don't have to take this personally. We're talking about other people. And I'm like, but you're not really, because the things that you are promoting and encouraging and sort of like whispering amongst each other in your safe space are things that affect my life. Like legally, these could change the things I'm allowed to do or the way I'm allowed to be in public or how I'm allowed to interact with others. And yeah, so I don't know where that lack of understanding comes from. Like sometimes I wonder if it is some form of like a privilege thing where like you're just insulated enough from never having experienced that you can't put yourself in someone else's shoes. But how? You know, how do you talk about someone who is a thing that you know about? Okay, like people that I'm talking about, they know that I identify differently. They know that this is a subject I talk about and I'm very passionate about. And then they're like shocked that I'm upset when they say things that are dangerous to say. And then they'll like get all hurt and they'll be like, you're trying to crush my freedom of speech. And it's like, no, I'm trying to use my freedom of speech to explain to you why that was hurtful for me. And I feel lost, you know, because it's like, how am I supposed to shut up about being gay or having gender dysphoria when all the fucking time I'm surrounded by this shit and I did not consent to this, okay? I had to like block all the news on every social media site so that I don't have to see this shit anymore. You know, I like try very hard to avoid having to read and hear about these things because it makes me upset. It makes me feel unsafe. It makes me scared for the future. It makes me feel like the world is a bad and scary place. And I you know, like I'm already dealing with enough of this stuff just being in an online space and dealing with anxiety. And then I go home to what's supposed to be like a nice family holiday experience and people are saying crazy shit there too. And it's like, I would like a safe space for me to feel fine about myself and to not constantly question why I can't be normal, because I already do enough of that, you know? Like I'm not gonna lie, okay, I spent like 3 months this year just trying to like fix myself. Like I kind of regressed a little bit and was trying to like fix myself so that I have like the normal proper social skills and express myself in a normal proper way, and it just made me so sad and miserable and upset, and it did not work for me. So I've decided to go back to being as I am usually, because it just doesn't work for me. And I'm sorry, you know, if I could be a normal person and have normal person issues to be stressed out about, that'd be great. You know, if I could just worry about like whether someone included me in a group activity or not, and then I could like be upset about that and pout about it for a little bit, that'd be great. I would love if my life issues were that simple. So yeah, it's just, how is it that people can clock you as different and go, hey, you don't belong in this space and here's all the reasons you are other than this thing, even if it's in a nice way, and then they can't for some reason accept or comprehend you talking about that thing in your outside voice. And then you're constantly inundated by topics about reasons why people like you don't belong in a space or need to be quiet about a thing or are being obnoxious because they have the audacity to talk about stuff or to seek solutions. And you're not allowed to feel anything about that. You have to be super calm and reasonable. You have to be like the Ben Shapiro robot of gay people. And it's like, how is that fair? Why are you allowed to talk about all these things, but I have to be quiet about it and polite and passive, okay? I don't know, because like, this has been my whole life, like my entire life. I have had to minimize myself in different spaces for different reasons just to feel safe, just to feel sort of safe and accepted in spaces. And not just because of the confusing gay gender stuff, sometimes it's because I was a foster kid and I don't have the same family experiences as other people. Sometimes it's because my parents are insane. So I don't really have like the ability to understand the healthy, normal ways that people with normal parents interact with the world. Sometimes it's because I'm visibly a minority. So when people talk about immigrants in a negative way, and I was, fun fact, actually an illegal immigrant when I first came to this country because my bio mom made some poor choices. There are a lot of factors that make me feel like I don't belong in spaces all the time for different reasons. And I did not pick to be those things. I didn't say, oh, I'd really love to be special today and have a lot of trauma. It's really fun for me. I love having trauma. I love not being able to like go to a grocery store and interact in a normal way without having a panic attack. I love going into a clothing store and feeling deeply uncomfortable trying to buy the clothes in the specific gender that I'm supposed to be, and feeling a lot of dysphoria, and then finally finding something that I do like and makes me happy, and then people questioning me because I don't look the way I'm supposed to. And it's like, I'm just trying to be happy, okay? I am the way that I am. I've tried every possible thing to fix it. I've done the CBT. I've done the therapy. Hell, there was a little bit there where I was managing my social anxiety with drugs. Not like hard drugs, okay? I'm not like that intense. It was just a lot of weed for a little bit there because I was going through a thing. Or like I had a brief stint of having a trouble with alcohol after I got disowned because I couldn't cope, okay? I cannot be normal in some ways that people expect you to be. And the only ways I could like possibly fit into the roles that I have been given in the way that people expect me to would be destructive to myself. I would actively be causing harm to myself to try to fit into being a way that people want me to be. So yeah, I can't not talk about it. Like even on this channel, I worry that I talk about myself too much. I worry that like a lot of the more serious topics that I talk about are maybe like too much for YouTube or maybe too much for people to hear about, because I don't want to be like a trauma Olympics channel. I'm not trying to make people sad. So I try really, really hard to only talk about things that I think would be helpful or beneficial or might like give possible solutions to people that are maybe at a different spot in their journey that might need like a different perspective to help understand themselves. And yeah, I can't help it, okay? I'm lacking a lot of the normal social interactions that people have had. I'm lacking a lot of the coping skills that other people just are naturally born with. So when I talk about these kinds of things, I can't help it. This has been my entire life. My entire life has been built on these experiences. Part of the reason I am the person I am is because of the things I have experienced. It's frustrating to hear people say that you should just be quiet about your experiences because people don't want to hear about them, or you're being obnoxious, or, they're totally fine with you as you are, as long as you don't talk about it, which doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel very nice to hear that people will only tolerate or accept you if you close off a part of yourself from expressing that, because that, like, I don't know, makes them uncomfortable, makes them upset, they find unnecessary or annoying. I don't go around telling people that their interests or passions or things about themselves are unnecessary, because that'd be hella rude and hurtful. So yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I don't know if maybe I'm too sensitive sometimes. Maybe I am. I think being prone to depression can absolutely do that, where you tend to internalize the negative things a lot more seriously. But again, the kind of person I am and why I try so hard to be kind and empathetic and understanding to people and listen to their ideas, even if I don't necessarily agree or understand them, is because I have always been that person who has felt like I didn't belong in one way or another. So yeah, it drives me nuts, you know? I would love to exist in a world where I didn't have to feel compelled to talk about these things. But if I don't talk about these things, I will never know if there are other people that feel the same way. It is such a wonderful, powerful thing to talk to another friend and suddenly have them go, oh my God, I completely understand. I also experience this thing that everyone else thinks is weird and crazy. And then you can go, oh my God, yes, this is great. I'm so happy we are friends because we can talk about the things that bother us or make us anxious or make us feel like we don't belong, and we can find belonging within that space with each other. There's this Instagram account I really like. I think it's called like One Step at a Time, One Day at a Time, something like that. And it's this trans man who has been documenting their transition pretty much every day for years. And honestly, it made me feel very happy. That was such a wonderful thing to see from somebody, was just like not talking about all the terrible, gross, negative things that you can experience day to day and how that can affect you, but just someone being like, hey, this is my life, this is stuff that's going on, here's me going through the process and what that actually looks like. And that was really wonderful to see, you know? I think I've talked about it before. One topic, I really got into his content because he was talking about a lot of communities that I didn't know a lot about at the time, but I really understood the things that they were talking about, and that made me feel a lot better. So yeah, I don't know. You can't get away from the negative things. You can't get away from seeing people saying crazy shit, especially when it's people within your own family unit that just do not understand, can't understand, refuse to understand. You know, the best you can do is find people and spaces that do care about you and do accept you as you are and are willing to not do the work, but I guess let you be yourself without making it about them. I have spent so much of my life trying to fit in and to be normal and to like study the way people are supposed to be and do that thing. So I actually went through like a hyper feminine phase in high school. You know, it was all skirts and leggings and lots of makeup and doing my hair all the time, trying really, really hard to feel the way I was supposed to. And it just made me feel kind of frustrated because it felt like work all the time trying to be something, and I don't want to feel that way anymore. I want to just be myself, and part of letting myself be who I am was going, yeah, maybe I don't want to identify in this way anymore. Maybe I want to do this different thing. Because for me, internally, even if externally nobody treats me any different, I feel a lot more comfortable about my decisions because I don't have to worry about whether they would be a man or a woman thing. They can just be a Selena thing. And I think that might be hard for people to understand, is that sometimes the act of labeling is just to find a common set of traits together that express you in a way that's quick and easy to express to someone. If I go to someone and I say, hey, I'm pansexual, a decent amount of people will know what that means. They will go, oh, okay, so you like a lot of different people. That makes sense. If I go and say, hey, my partner is demisexual, some of them will know, oh, that means that they, you know, a connection is very important to them and they don't really have a lot of interest in people until they have an emotional connection. That can mean something to people, and that makes it easier to understand. If I say so-and-so is autistic, so-and-so has a learning disability and they kind of need these things, people can go, oh, I kind of understand that concept. I'm familiar with that label as a term. I understand. But without a label, you are explaining years and years of a lived-in experience to someone who does not know what that's like, and it's exhausting. So yeah, I don't know, there's not really like a format to this video. It's just some things I was thinking about and I couldn't sleep, so I thought I would put this out here because yeah, I feel like as much as I may worry that one day people will be upset with me for sharing my personal experiences or the way that I feel, I also know that for me, it's so important to see these things and to hear from somebody else, hey, it's okay, I've experienced some of these things, I kind of know what this feels like, Because all the time, whether I choose to or not, there are people around me who, whether they love and care about me or not, are in subtle ways telling me that I don't belong, or that I don't deserve to be in a space, or deserve to say things, or deserve to have an opinion, because I don't fit the mold. And I didn't get a choice on that. I didn't choose to be the way that I am. My experiences, my family of origin, my economic status, all of these things sort of converge together to shape me into the person that I am. And I can try as hard as I want to be normal and to be quiet and to be the appropriate amount of whatever. But I can't be. I think a certain way, I live a certain way, I am a certain way, and that there is nothing that can be done about it. I exist and you exist, and we exist in the spaces that we are, in the place that we are, as the people that we are. And the thing that I'm realizing is fitting in is not the same as making yourself a better person. I actively want to work on myself to be a better person, to be a more patient person, to be a kinder person, to be a more eloquent person, to be more confident in myself, and to be less judgmental and less critical and less arrogant. Those things benefit me. Those things make me a happier, healthier person. But trying really, really hard to socially be a specific way, or trying really, really hard to dress in a certain way so that people will accept me, those things, even when I do them, they don't make me happy. They make me really sad. They make it harder for me to exist in the world. They make me more miserable. And ultimately, the only ways to do that have been very damaging to me and hurtful, and are sometimes actually dangerous for my health. So yeah, I think there's an important distinction between stuff that is good for you and stuff that makes other people feel more comfortable, and maybe a little bit more understanding why people want to talk about the hard things and the difficult things, and why they don't just keep it to themselves. Because sometimes those things are not things that you get to keep to yourself, because you are constantly in a world that has opinions about you and about the way that you are and about the things that you choose to do. And you can't escape that. If you are a kind of person and other people don't like that kind of person, they're gonna have thoughts about it. And I think if they're allowed to have thoughts about it, you're allowed to have thoughts too. And that is okay. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if these things keep other people up at night, but they do for me. So yeah, there was just some thoughts I was having. I don't know. I hope you have a good night.